Good afternoon, everyone. In this video, we will be demonstrating how to do CPR. So the age of our participants will be mainly for the people of ages 18 and over, and at this age, they would be fully developed and are beginners who are just observing. The task of characteristics of complexity. There will be low complexity because you will only need to practice one motion with your arms, the motion of up and down, and you will be using zero motions because you're combining discrete and continuous skills when you're giving them compressions. Our video takes place in a classroom training setting. Our why is skill because you need to know proper technique and placement in order to perform CPR correctly. You don't want to press too hard or have your hands placed at the xiphoid process because you can potentially hurt them and not restore their breathing patterns. Our what, it would be passive because since the observer has no skill, they would need to sit back and see how it is performed and the placement of the hands and listening to verbal cues to show the relative timing of the joints. Who? So in our video, we have skilled and unskilled person showing them CPR. The skilled person would be the instructor, and they're showing the student where to place their hands correctly. And the unskilled person shows them we show them what not to do with their hands or any other placements. The how. The speed we would use would be real time, and we would show them with a mirror angle so that they could retain information because it would force them to cognitively think when viewing the placement and timing. Our frequency, we would have them watch it about 10 times and control viewing self-control so that they could see what they're doing wrong in order to correct their mistakes. Our when would be before and during performing CPR, and then our motor outcome comes out to motor skill of performing CPR after it would be cognitive. For our feedback bubbles, the age, task of characteristics,
we also added
complexity,
the 5 characteristics
where
of
and why are going to stay the same.
Consistency, stability,
our what
persistence,
is going to be
and
KP prescriptive
An
because they're
you
just
will see
beginners
an
and don't
increase
have
of
prior
his skill.
experience.
He is being
Quotes that we will be
consistent
adding
with the
are:
proper movement and rhythms.
make sure to stay on the rhythm.
We played
Make
an
sure to
ambulance
push
siren
harder
in the
or
background
put
to
enough
distract
pressure
him
on your
and increase the
compressions,
amount of pressure
and
he may be feeling,
don't tilt the
and
head
was still
too back.
able to perform CPR correctly.
The focus of attention
We showed
is low
persistence
SE,
by having him come
and
back
we would
a
tell
different
them what
day
they did
see if he
correctly
was
to
still
provide
able to
a
complete the
positive
skill.
reinforcement and
And
increase
for
their
adaptability,
motivation.
we added a slight
Who is still the
variation
CPR instructor,
and handed
how
him a
control
baby to
feedback
see if he was
provided
still able
by
to
the
perform
instructor,
CPR
and verbal
correctly.
because Rimo said so. When CAF in the beginning because they aren't experienced and we would have to make sure that they get it all right. Then fade into terminal because they need to be able to know the skill on their own and we don't want them to be dependent on us. And the motor outcome is motor skill performing CPR, and then after it would be cognitive. Additional concepts that we added in our video included Fitz and Posner. In this video, you will see the student start in the cognitive stage and see how he had to think of where to place his hands and to stay on the rhythm. He then transitioned to the associate stage, and you see how he thought less about those things, and finally advanced to the autonomous stage, showing little to no cognitive effort in his performance.
We also added the 5 characteristics of learning being improvement, consistency, stability, persistence, and adaptability. In improvement, you will see an increase of his skill. He is being consistent with the proper movement and rhythms. In stability, we played an ambulance siren in the background to distract him and increase the amount of pressure he may be feeling, and was still able to perform CPR correctly. We showed persistence by having him come back a different day to see if he was still able to complete the skill. And for adaptability, we added a slight variation and handed him a baby to see if he was still able to perform CPR correctly.
Hi, nice to meet you. I'm a CPR instructor. So today I'm just going to be teaching you how to perform CPR correctly. I'm going to show you a quick clip from the American Red Cross.
Okay.
Okay, so just make sure to pay attention to where they're placing their hands and then the rhythm of it.
Okay.
So see how they place their hand one over the other, and then you're keeping a steady rhythm?
Yeah.
So you're just gonna make sure to keep that for your patient.
Okay.
Perfect.
Right.
Are you ready to demonstrate?
Yeah. Should I begin?
Yes.
You're right?
All right. So you're gonna make sure to keep one hand over the other, whichever you feel comfortable with. And then you're gonna make sure to do it on the sternum, not below where the xiphoid process is, because you can break it more.
Okay.
So come on, give it a try. Perfect. And then you're gonna make sure to go 2 inches, to compress 2 inches down. A little harder. Perfect. Now you're going at a little bit of a slow speed. You're gonna remember there's 3 songs you can do. You can do the Bee Gees Staying Alive. So Staying Alive from The Office. And then you can also do Baby Shark Doo Doo. Or you can do another one, Bites of Dust. But preferably not that one, because if they wake up, then they're gonna think that you're singing to them to be dead.
Okay.
So come on, give it a try.
Okay. So hands here, choose the compression. Staying alive, staying alive.
Perfect. Now just remember to go deeper. There you go. Perfect.
Staying alive, staying alive.
Perfect. Just make sure to stay on the rhythm, okay?
Oh, okay.
One more time.
Okay. Staying alive, staying alive.
Perfect. Very clutch. Put the rhythm part down. I'm going to teach you how to do breaths.
Okay.
So in order to do breaths, you're going to put their chin up, their head back, and then pinch onto their nose.
Okay.
Perfect. And then blow. Okay. So when you're going to blow, you have to put direct contact on their mouth and blow twice.
Oh, okay, okay.
Perfect.
So put the chin up.
Perfect.
Pinch the nose.
Perfect. And then see how their chest moves? That means that you're doing it right.
Oh, okay.
Perfect. Okay. So now that you have your compressions and breaths, we're going to put the 2 together.
Okay.
So you're going to do a 32, 30 seconds, and then 2 breaths, and then repeat.
Okay.
Okay? I'm going to do 30 seconds for you. After 30 seconds, 2 breaths.
Okay.
Ready?
Oh.
Begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, staying alive, staying alive. 7, 8, 9, 10, staying alive, staying alive. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, staying alive, staying alive. 1, 2, 3, 4, staying alive, staying alive. 1, 2, 3, 4, staying alive, staying alive. 1, 2, 3, 4, staying alive. Breaths. And then again. Make sure to keep the rhythm and then count by yourself 30 seconds.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, staying alive, staying alive.
Staying alive, staying alive.
Amazing. Gangster. Then when someone's down, what do you do? There's people moving, sirens on, what do you do?
Oh, I help him.
Nope. able to stay stable under harsh environments. Good job.
Yes.
Test your adaptability by having you perform on an infant. So with an infant, it's gonna be basically the same thing, except you're gonna find the nipples, put 2 fingers below it, stay on the sternum, same, 32, and then instead of 2 inches, it's gonna be 1/3 of the chest, or 1.5 inches.
Okay.
Same thing with when you do breaths, head up, and then their nose and blow twice.
Okay.
32.
All right.
Perfect. So you can do both infant and adult. Good job.
Yes. Clutch.
The age of the participant is 18 and up. They are fully developed, but a beginner in stage of learning. It's low complexity and a discrete and gross motor skill. It'll be in a training room setting. For why, it'll be skill because you need to know the proper technique to effectively perform the exercise. Our what is active learning, since they would be sitting back and observing. The instructor will be pointing out what they should look for in order to correct the form. Our who is an intermediate self-model. The how is real-time speed, and we would use subjective view so that they can learn it faster. When, it would take place before and after performing the plank. And our outcome is motor outcome, as we want to correct the form and technique of a plank. For our feedback, the age of the participant is still 18 and up. Again, fully developed, but still a beginner. Low complexity, discrete and gross motor skill. Still in the training room area. The why is still the same, is the skill, because you need to know the proper technique. For our what, we would use a mix of KR and KP. For the KR, we will be telling the participant that they successfully held a plank for 20 seconds. For KP, we would use 3 prescriptive quotes. Our first quote would be to curl your toes to grip the mat. Our second quote would be don't arch your back. And our third quote would be keep your arms parallel to your shoulders. The who would be the gym instructor. Our how is control of feedback is provided by the instructor and also verbal because Rymel said so. The when, we will be performing CAF in the beginning to help correct errors, but then slowly fade into terminal in order to decrease dependency upon the participant. Our outcome is a motor outcome as we want them to achieve correct form and technique of a plank. And for our additional content, we would be focusing on attention, and we would use narrow internal, and the quote would be to tighten your core, and external narrow would be focused on keeping your head down to align your back.
Hi, I'm here that we're here to learn how to do proper techniques on the plank.
I know you're intermediate, but we're just going to correct your form.
Okay, sounds good.
Perfect. So I'm just going to have you lay down in a prone position. And we're going to be doing low planks today. So then I'm going to have you get up on your elbows. And then make sure that your elbows are parallel to each other. Okay. And then you're just going to make sure that your back is aligned. Remember to keep your core straight or tighten your core. And then you might have to record you so I can show you the errors that you're doing. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I'm going to have you go to position again. Alright. Just remember to tighten your core and keep your back straight. Perfect. Can you go down? Okay, so I want you to see yourself. And then notice how your back was just a little bit arched. So just remember to keep it all straight and then just tighten your core so that you can work out what you need to work out. Remember also parallel, your elbows parallel to your shoulders.
Okay.
Perfect.
Should I try it again?
Yeah. Perfect. And just remember to put a little bit more up. So perfect. That's amazing. You did it.
Wow, great.
Welcome back.
your core tight and then your shoulders aligned. Today I'm just going to have you focus more on your head position so that you can keep everything aligned. So I'm going to have you go on the plank position again. And then make sure to curl your toes so you can get a grip on the floor. Perfect. And then arms parallel. Perfect. Okay. And then just make sure to keep your head down so you can have your whole body aligned. Great. You can go back down. Great. So now I'm going to have you bring 2 different types to test your consistency on your positioning. Okay? So I'm going to have you do high planks and low planks for 20 seconds to just test if you're able to keep it consistent. So for a high plank, you're just going to get like in the push-up position, hold your toes, and then you're just going to go down to the low plank for 20 seconds, all right? We'll put the timer starting now. Okay, perfect. So you just finished 20 seconds of being able to keep your body consistent from a high plank to a low plank. Once you get more practice, you'll be more advanced, and then you'll be able to teach others your skills, and you'll be able to teach them how to keep everything aligned and then the right position for everything.
Sounds good.
Congratulations, good job.